Hello lovely beaders. Welcome back to my channel. I recently got a lovely commission for a collection inspired by Hungarian folk jewelry, aiming for a traditional feel with some creative freedom. While making necklaces and collars was straightforward, I struggled to find traditional beaded bracelet examples. So for the bracelets in the collection like these ones here, I had to get a little creative. My solution was to adapt a pattern element from a collar. To make it work better as a standalone bracelet, I widened this beautiful band pattern slightly by adding simple right-angle weave circles along the edges. This design was the result and I liked it so much I thought you might enjoy learning how to make it too. Traditional Hungarian designs had to work with much less uniform seed beads than we have today. So for this bracelet, most types of seed beads will work fine, just make sure they are generally the same size. First, I made my bracelet with red flowers and white background. Now I want to try out what the design would look like if I use black seed beads instead of white. Okay, let's get started. The beginning and the end of the bracelet will be black, so I start my first circle with mainly black beads. String 3 black, 1 red and 1 black seed bead. Pull the beads down on your thread. Go through only the first strung bead pointing towards the end of your thread. This way you have a circle with an anchor bead on the end. Let me quickly explain this way of stitching here. It's a key element in many traditional Hungarian beading styles, where the work always progresses in a single direction, generally upwards or downwards. Your needle typically points along this path as you work. So even though we make quick turns on this narrow band, notice how each stitch continues that overall upward or downward movement. In the meantime, I quickly tied the two ends together so that the beading wouldn't unravel while I make the base ribbon. String 1 black and 1 red bead and go through the red bead from the first circle from down to up direction. This step will reverse the beading direction. The next step will go downward. String 2 red and 1 white bead. And go down through the second red bead already added to your work. String 2 red beads and go up in the first red bead after the white bead. I hope that you notice that the direction is reversed again. And the first flower is finished. String 1 black, 1 red and 1 black bead and go down in the second red bead from the flower. Turn with a black and a red bead and go through the red bead from the previous round. With the last two steps, the connection between the two flowers is done and we started the second flower already. String 2 red and 1 white bead and go down in the second red bead already added to your work. String 2 red beads and go up in the first red bead after the white bead. And the second flower is finished. Now it is time for the connector part with the black beads. So string 1 black, 1 red and 1 black bead and go down in the second red bead. With a black and a red bead, turn back in the red bead strung previously. And you can start the third flower. Alright, now that you know how to make the flower element, you'll just keep repeating this process until your bracelet band is the right length for you. I won't make you watch me bead every single one. That would be pretty repetitive. Just for reference, my bracelet took 22 flowers to reach 16 centimeters before adding the clasp. So I'll finish beading this main band off camera and I will be back to show you the next steps. I made my 22 flowers, now I need the black part to end the band with black. String 3 black beads and go down in the second red bead from the flower. String 2 black beads and go up in the middle black bead strung previously. And the band is finished with black beads. Now we need to make a bead loop for the clasp. String 5 black beads and go up in the 2 black beads from the end of the band. Reinforce this bead loop by going through the beads again. I usually avoid knots while beading, but I'm adding one here specifically to strengthen the beaded loop for the clasp. Experience tells me this attachment point is often the weakest spot on a bracelet and the first to wear out or break. Without reinforcement, a broken loop could cause the beadwork to unravel. This knot acts as a safeguard. Even if the loop breaks later on, the knot should keep the rest of the bracelet intact. From now on, I will work only with black beads. My thread is exiting the first black bead that sticks out on the edge. These edge beads alternate black and red along the band. String 3 black beads and go through the edge bead again to form a right angle weave circle. Now we need to make a raw circle using the red edge bead, but going directly across these edge beads would expose the thread, so I follow the existing bead path instead. To make the second raw circle, go up in the side bead of the first circle. String 2 black beads and go through the red edge bead and the side bead from the first circle. And we have the second raw circle. But now we need to go through the beads from this circle to reach the black side bead to make the third circle. String 2 black beads and go through the side bead and the edge bead. And that is all you need to do. Make the raw circles along the edge of the band. Always try to go through beads where the thread already lies, or will be covered later to avoid exposed threads. Of course, I won't bore you with the beading of all the raw circles. I will come back when I'm at the end of the row. I need one last raw circle, so I lead my thread to the last edge bead and with 2 black beads I make the last circle. And then I need to make the bead loop for the clasp. So I go through the 2 bead from the end of my band and string 5 black beads. I go back in the end beads and reinforce the loop by going through all the beads again. And because my thread is next to the end of the thread, I tie a knot on them, with this securing the bead loop again. And to start making the raw circles on the second side of the bracelet, step out from the first edge bead on this side. Start making the raw circles like I showed you on the other side of the bracelet. Try to avoid going straight across the edge beads, because this would leave the thread visible. Make the longer paths to hide the thread. No matter how long a thread you start with, eventually, you're likely to run out before finishing a piece. I began this bracelet with almost 3 meters, and as you can see, it wasn't quite enough. So, I thought this is a good moment to show you how I securely add a new thread when this happens. First, secure the old thread with a few double knots around existing thread bridges. Weave it through several beads before cutting. And now it's time to hide the end of the thread too. To add the new thread, you basically do the same process in reverse. Choose a spot in the beadwork near where you need to continue. Anchor the new thread by making a double knot around a thread bridge. Then weave the new working thread through the beads, carefully following the existing thread paths, until your needle is exiting exactly where your old thread ended. And don't forget to take the tail of the new thread and weave it in through several beads before cutting it. Now I can continue with the raw circles. I will come back when I finish the row. I almost finished the raw circles on the second side as well. I have one more circle to make. And that's it. It is finished. I just have to finish the thread and put the clasp on the bracelet. I finish my thread with double knots just like I showed you before. I make a double knot between 2 beads, then pass the thread through a few beads and repeat the double knot. I make usually 3 double knots before I cut the thread. To put the clasp and the chain extender on the bracelet, I use jump rings. I open the jump rings and I put a lobster clasp on one side of the bracelet, and with the second jump ring I put the extender on the other side. It is simple like that. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Hitting that like button really helps others discover this tutorial too. Your support helps me keep creating free content, and every like, comment and share makes a difference. Want to do more? You can buy me a coffee or check out my tutorials and jewelry. Links are in the description. Even the smallest contribution directly fuels the creation of more free patterns and videos like this one. Thank you so much for helping me keep this channel going. I hope you try this simple bracelet pattern. It's quick and easy to make. Just right for a nice summer dress. And that's the end of today's video. Thank you for spending time with me. See you next week.